Chelsea are closing in on a new head coach, having held talks with Enzo Maresca, and it's expected that he will join the club on a long-term contract. Chelsea co-sporting directors Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart are in Marbella for face-to-face discussions. Maresca's release clause at Leicester is between £8 and £10 million. Well, let's get more on this. We can speak to the Athletic's Leicester correspondent Rob Tanner now. Rob, good afternoon to you. So it looks like this deal is close. Just how much of a blow will it be to Leicester losing the man who guided them back to the Premier League?
It'll be a big blow. Obviously, they had the trauma of relegation the year before, went through a couple of managers at the end of the season, and they went with Enzo to stabilise everything, and he did that. He got them back up at the first attempt. So they find themselves again now looking for a new manager. But look, on the other side of that, so the money they're going to get from Chelsea will go some way to helping them with meeting the PSR breaches, that the charges that might come their way before the end of June.
From a Chelsea perspective, did it come as a bit of a surprise to you that Chelsea are going for a coach of the Championship winners, remembering, of course, he's got no experience of managing in the Premier League?
Well, yes and no, because it's Chelsea, isn't it? I mean, nothing really surprises you with how they've operated over the last few years. But I think Enzo is a coach with a big reputation. He's a rising star of coaching. I've seen him work closely at Leicester over the last year, and the players love working for him. They love training every day. Obviously, that's proven in the results as well. So I'm not surprised that a big club have been looking at him and monitoring what he's been achieving.
And just tell us a little bit more about the identity of a club under Maresca, because Chelsea have, of course, said that they want a team to have a clear identity. That's something that they'll certainly get with Maresca.
Absolutely, and that was exactly what Leicester wanted as well when they took the decision to appoint him, because that was seen as a risk 12 months ago. But he's a possession-based coach. He'll set his side up in a system which will have an inside fullback. He'll have a holding midfielder, two wide men, and lone striker, and they will try and dominate possession. And it's a tactical battle. I mean, he wrote his thesis on comparing football to chess when he was doing his coaching badges. So that's the type of manager that they're going to get. He's very influenced by Johan Cruyff and Pep Guardiola. So that's the type of coach they're going to get.
And of course, Leicester looked unstoppable at times last season. They did have a bit of a wobble in the final few months. I think it's fair to say that led to a bit of frustration from some of the Leicester fans. Maresca insisting that he just wouldn't veer away from his philosophy. Do you think that that could be to his detriment at Chelsea?
Well, he's got to learn to manage the expectation and the media. I mean, we've got to remember that he is a new manager. He's only had one full season in the job. He's learning. As much as we're learning about him, he's learning about us as well. So that is an area that he will be looking at to improve. But he's absolutely steadfast with his idea. He will not move from that. He's committed to it 100%. And he's also incredibly hard-working, incredibly thorough. He'll know everything about Chelsea. He'll know everything about their players. And he'll know everything about their opposition when they come to play as well. So they've got a very methodical manager.
And overall, what do you think the feeling in Leicester will be at Maresca's departure?
There would be a little bit of concern. Obviously in the background, there's the Premier League charge as well. They could start the season with a points deduction. They needed that stability. I mean, a lot of the players and this team has been built around his idea. So there'll be a little bit of nervousness now about who the next manager is going to be. I think they'll try and stay with this identity that they've had under Enzo and try bring in a manager that's going to play in a similar way.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the players there because there were those rumours last summer, reports that some were convinced to stay on at Leicester solely because of the manager, because of Maresca. How do you think they'll have reacted to this news, and what about the potential repercussions on the squad?
Well, they will be very disappointed to lose Enzo. He was popular with the players. He is a very friendly guy, open door policy, but he's also can be very stern as well and very strict in how he wants his players to conduct themselves on and off the pitch. But they certainly warmed to him. So, yeah, there will be a bit of nervousness now. We're not quite sure going forwards what's going to happen in terms of player sales and recruitment. Obviously, it's a lot better now they're back in the Premier League than if they'd been stuck in the Football League. But there will be a little bit of nervousness.
Yeah, a bit of nervousness with that. You already touched on the financial problems as well, potentially the could start the season with a points deduction, meaning spending in the transfer window could be restrained. Do you think fans should be worried?
No, I wouldn't say worried, because the club have operated in the past to a very strict model in terms of selling one key asset, reinvesting that and reinvesting it wisely. But they went away from that a couple of years ago, and that's what caused the problems in terms of led to relegation. They will go back to that model. I think there will be, inevitably, that points deductions look like it's certainly going to be at the start of the season. And the budget might be a little bit restricted as well, because they've still got to make sure they don't breach again and face a second charge. And I think that's one of the reasons why Enzo was a little bit frustrated towards the end of the season when these things emerged. But I think moving forwards, they've got to stick to their plan as well.
And what about a plan for a new manager if this move to Chelsea goes through? Who do you expect Leicester to be looking at as a potential replacement?
Well, in the past, they've had interest in Graham Potter, but it never seemed to be the right time for him to come in. Steve Cooper did a very good job down the road at Nottingham Forest, so he'll be somebody they might look at. They've also got Oscar Garcia at their sister club, Leuven, who obviously came through the Barcelona system as well and plays a very similar style of football. So there'll be options for him. I still think, despite the problems off the field, that Leicester will be an attractive proposition for many managers.
OK, Rob, thank you very much for joining us this lunchtime.
Thank you.